Yes, how you doing, everybody? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Brando. I represent, founded a company called Bigger Than Race. Essentially, we are a community of people from all walks of life that make up the BTR, but we are also uh, a full-fledged community venture capital. So we've invested in over 35 projects collectively. I also was a co-founder of a major blockchain network, Deep Link. We serve many individuals, companies across the industry, and we're just essentially here to help people grow and accelerate their learning curve in crypto. So we've been helping people do that successfully since late 2017, and here we are today. That is a bit about me. I'm excited to meet you, and I'm excited to get things popping. Joseph, what's going on?
Let's go to I think this has been a long thing planning here to get this going. Myself, I've also been in the space for maybe 8 years now. Me and Brando been in touch before, doing some work together. I've been also part of his community. I mean, that community is very close to my heart. Special things, special discussions, all of the good stuff are happening in there. So make sure you pay a visit, see what's happening, join the party. I just want to, for everyone on X, please retweet the space. Let's have more people join here, make some noise, even in the comments, both on X and on TikTok. Guys, if you have any questions, we're here to answer. We're here to go with the flow. We're gonna discuss everything that's going on in crypto right now. So there's no specific things we want to touch on besides the big actions going on around the world. But besides that, if you guys have any questions, we are here to discuss. So maybe to kick things off, we've seen major dumps in crypto, right, Brando? Especially lately, things going on around the world. The war, the economies are not maybe at its best, at its peak. And then we have the tariffs as well. Can you give your insights on that? What's going on? What do you think about that? The tariffs, the effect that all of this has on the crypto market?
Sure. First, let me start off by saying I don't know everything, and this is just my perspective on seeing through the smoke, putting pieces to the puzzle together, and coming up with an assumption of what's going on. But in my belief, they always tell you what they're going to do before they do it. And there's been conversations, briefings, times when Trump was speaking out, and he was talking about the tariffs, but he also said there's going to be a little bit of turbulence, a little bit of short-term pain, short-term billions, short-term pain, and then we'll get to a place where everything is smooth and sailing, so that he could have the legacy that he's looking to have this term. And I think people just miss that because there's a bunch of noise going on. And I should have, first of all, I should have watched Warren Buffett. I should have followed his moves. Always say follow the money. He sold a large sum of assets a couple months prior because he already knew what was getting ready to take place. And I was warned as well from a close family member telling me about that. These tariffs, he's going to mess up the economy. And I thought, he was just upset because Trump won, but it was true. And it has caused some turmoil within the crypto markets. But there's a lot of bullishness at the same time. And, so for me, yes, things are down. People didn't see it coming. We all thought because Trump was going to be in office that things were going to go sky high. It did. The announcement of Trump getting into office was bullish. So it prematurely pumped Bitcoin and certain altcoins, right? And before that, he launched his meme coin. And nobody foresaw all of this stuff coming, but we did see the tariff issues coming. We didn't see that big liquidity pool on the market across the industry. We never saw that coming. And it's very hard to predict those types of things unless you have some inside information. So you know, at this point, because of where we are, and because of the regulatory climate, what's happening globally, what they're saying, what they're putting into motion, this is a perfect time for people to take advantage of the downturns. And yes, there's pain. We're all in pain. We all wish it was more, but unfortunately, it's not. So for me, I see a little bit more pain, sideways choppiness, and then we'll get to a point soon that we'll see a turn. But according to the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, by the end of this month, we're supposed to see Bitcoin at around 200,000 if it is to remain on that 4-year cycle, the previous 4-year cycle. So I personally think there's a lot of game left within this month to see some changes. We've seen Bitcoin go up and down from 82 to 85, so that's a pretty good sign, but anything could happen. And I just think at some point there's going to be some kind of announcement or some regulatory framework in regard to stable coins that is going to light this thing on fire. So that's what I see, man.
They say no pain, no gain, right? I don't know if that's the truth though. But the thing is, you mentioned a bit about the Bitcoin. So I think we're living in a short attention span world where we had Bitcoin going over 100K, and everyone was super happy. We were hitting 100K plus, and everyone was so happy. And then suddenly something happened, and I don't know. We retested the lower levels, and it seems that many people lost faith because of the short attention span. So now we're wrecked, and I don't know what's happening, and Bitcoin is going down to 50K and even less. I mean, we've gone up again, and then we have some important levels we need to surpass, so we don't fall back to even lower lows. But I think there's light at the end of the tunnel, right? I mean, always do your own due diligence. Nothing here is financial advice, but we're in this space because we believe in something, and this something, we're not even close to the end. The tech is being built, the tech is being improved, and we're only touching on Bitcoin right now. You have other ecosystems. I was earlier today on a chat about Monad network, and they're only on their testnet, and things there are going wild, right? So imagine if that's going wild, what's happening on Solana, what's happening on Ethereum, and all of the cool projects that are being built and being grown behind the scenes. This is the tech, the financial system that will live on forever. But as we said, Bitcoin is retouching good levels. I'm seeing some progress. But I'm curious on your thought on a couple of other things here. Certainly, we've had different cycles, right? We've had L1s, L2s, AI coins, AI agent coins, gaming coins. We've had meme coins, different cycles, right? Lately, we had the AI agents and then the AI agent meme coins. And I'm very interested to hear what you think about this. So obviously, Fartcoin has been one of the major meme coins. And it's very interesting to me that seeing how it has performed for the last 30 days, maybe this means that we have a new, maybe meme coin on the throne, or a new coin that's leading the way. We've had Shiba Inu before, we've had Doge before, even Pepe. I know maybe you're not the biggest advocate of meme coins. I know you love to do your due diligence on the team and have something more tangible. But I know you also like these meme coins too. And what do you think about Fartcoin, for example, doing 200% in the last 1 month, while let's say Dogecoin still negative 3%, by the way, that's surprising to me. But other coins such as Solana plus 10%, Tron plus 10% in the last 1 month, that's still better than what we had 2-3 weeks ago. Do you think this is a turning point in one way? That's the thing. That's the key. And I fully agree with you. By the way, for transparency, I don't even hold any Fartcoin either. And to your point, I mean, it's all about the culture, the community you can build behind, and just because the price of an asset or of a couple of assets within the same, let's say, category go up, it doesn't mean that it's overnight. Usually, this has been long time behind the scenes. The community has been growing slowly, and then it suddenly pops in everyone's eyes, but it's not sudden. We saw the same thing with AI agents. Virtuals, which is the main infra for AI agents, started on Base, not on Solana, when most of the liquidity was going towards Solana. And they've been building their infra for months before it popped in. When was it? September, October, November last year. And then that just kickstarted, to be honest, an amazing journey for AI, the development of them. But then again, you never know which industry, which category, or which sentiment will pop and when it will pop. So eventually, you need to do your own research. You need to find out where you want to put your attention, and then where you want to put your money to. So is it gaming? Is it AI, RWAs, across multiple of them, or just choose? Maybe it's even meme coins, right? Because that's also part of the culture, part of the Web3 space.
Yeah, I I personally believe that there is, and I agree with what you're saying. But I just for the people out there, there's a lot of great noise out there, right? And in crypto, if it's not going by the cycle, like the traditional cycle and ways of it going up and down as it previously has done over the years, there's something called the trend. The trend is your friend, and the trend is what is on the horizon to hit at a certain time frame. And we've been very good at calling out and pinpointing those trends. They're saying you have an echo on your voice whenever you're speaking. But nonetheless, there's major there's sectors that you could see coming, and if you could pinpoint them like we've done, you're able to get in position before they hit. And sometimes you may have to pivot, because the goal of the game is to not just sit in crypto and wait. Yes, you want to have certain assets that you believe short term, mid-term, long term, so that you can get that growth over that time span. But you also want to be able to play the game, and you want to be able to be in trends before they come. We knew AI agents. We were in AI agent assets before AI agent trend even hit. And I was talking about this to people, and they just thought I was oblivious and just talking reckless. But then it hit, and a lot of money was made, but also a lot of money was lost because of the events that took place, right? So you have to want to be able to get in and get out. A lot of times we get too greedy, and it always happens. The trend goes up and it's sucked out. You have to be smart enough. If you make 50,000 off of one play, take that 50K. Because where you gonna get 50K that fast anywhere? It's gonna take a long time if you're doing regular work, right? So there's that. But the trends that I see happening coming up next is DeFi. DeFi is gonna come back in a way where I don't think people are ready for it. And I'm not saying it's gonna happen right this second, but I believe in like 2026, when that WorldFi coin is coming to market, when it's past the year cliff that we have, I think they're doing a lot with specific projects in DeFi. Just look at some of the stuff that he's holding. Speaking of the Trump family, I believe that RSR is going to be a great asset because it deals with stable coins. And, that is a big thing that is going to be in motion this year, the framework for that. So you want to see these trends and be in position. I've already talked to the community about RSR. Tron, I feel like Tron is going to do something that is going to be magnificent because it deals with what? Stable coins. So, and it facilitates a lot of USDT, right? So I just feel like pay attention to DeFi. You can even see with what happened with Mantra DAO just recently. You know, it's been around for a while. Um, I don't even know what took place, honestly. It's, it just went up. It was up. You know, it does this thing, and then all of a sudden, liquidity pool. So that just shows me, and it's a confirmation that DeFi, DeFi has been down in the dumps, for quite some time. I don't think, when was the last DeFi cycle? Was it 20, what? 20,
Like 2020
yeah, I want to say
maybe, like DeFi summer,
yeah, like
or
2020. And then it was hot 2019, everybody, DeFi, DeFi. They had all these launch pads, but that's going to come back into play. Everything happens in cycles. All of the same repetitive stories that they have came up with back in the 2017 cycle and so on and so forth has always recycled. It's just like trends that happen in fashion. Bell bottoms was hot back in the 70s. Now Kendrick Lamar made it hot in 2025. It's the same story. And it's the same game, a different setup. So we have to be smart enough to see how the game is played and how we can win. And that's all we have been trying to do. Show people how to look at crypto so that you could capitalize off of it, right? And gaming is going to come back, but for the immediate trend I can surely see coming is DeFi. Now, what we have to do, DeFi and anything that's dealing with stable coins, right? Those are going to pop hard just because of what's getting ready to happen. So RSR, you can look at my face and remember I told you RSR will have a great ride, just because of what it is and what it's doing.
alpha.
So yeah, I digress.
Alpha right there. Yeah, that's a good one. I love that you touched on this topic. You also touched on Mantra, where I don't know what happened with the liquidity. I don't want to go too much into that. I mean, there's other spaces and YouTube videos, podcasts talking about that, covering that already. So let's skip that rabbit hole. Let's focus on DeFi because this is an interesting one. We had DeFi summer, right? And then we had Solana popping as I don't know, in my opinion, the ecosystem that's gonna onboard the masses, at least for the last 2 years. That's been their perspective. And we had a couple of DeFi projects there doing what maybe Uniswap did a couple of years ago on Ethereum. PancakeSwap did as well. So I'm a bit curious here because, yes, obviously there's going to be a big DeFi pump. And I think with the AI agent economies, I think that's another layer that's going to be added to this. So where am I going with this? We have older projects, DeFi projects, we have newer ones, we have in different ecosystems. Would you, as Brando, this is your own opinion, would you try to focus maybe on the bigger networks, ecosystems, let's say Ethereum, let's say Solana, obviously, maybe even Tron? Or would you even dig a little bit deeper and try to see, obviously it's not easy to predict the future, it's not even possible, but you can have a feeling for yourself which emerging ecosystems are on the rise. So would you try to take similar positions as you would be able to do on Ethereum back then, on Solana back then, but on these new ones?
I think there's only some that I would take risk on in regards to the new ones, but the timing of when we do that is the most important thing. I'll give you an example. I feel like over time, osmosis will come back into play out of the Cosmos ecosystem. Cosmos is undervalued right now. I think Solana is going to be a great choice because the powers that be, the big players have already chosen Solana to be that horse that these blockchains are going to be bridging to so that they can also extract the liquidity because the Solana has the most liquidity at this point, right? So they say. I think Ethereum's still going to do what it does, but for somebody who may not have the most funds in the world to maximize the Ethereum investment, maybe Solana or a smaller token might be more beneficial for you. Tron is a great hold. VeChain is a great hold. all of these ecosystems, they do DeFi. Some of them do everything. H bar is a great hold. Yeah, if you got in early enough, you could have had it at a lower price. But you know, these tokens are going up in value. But you want to claim your stake now. Ethereum, you could have bought in at 40 something cents. Same thing with Solana at a certain point. There were people who got to participate in the crowd sales and different things like that. I wish my head was in the right place at that time to know to look for that stuff. Uh, but it wasn't. Um, so here we are. But Ethereum was like $50, 25, $50. You could have turned some pretty good tricks. And had I known that at the time, I would have definitely capitalized on a lot of Ethereum. But we still have those plays. The Ethereums of tomorrow are still right in front of your face. And some of us just don't know how to look at them or how to notice them. And they're constantly propped. I think Tron could be that, in its own right. I think HBAR could be that. I think VeChain could be that. These are assets that are still undervalued and haven't gone up to those prices. Because if you knew Ethereum was going to be what it was today, would you have invested when you could have? We don't know. But I would check out some new stuff. There is new assets. Babylon I'm looking at only because of what it could do for Bitcoin. And it looks like, it could be something. But at the present moment, it can go down, Sparks did some chart analysis for me. It can definitely go down to about 0.15. So I don't want to invest in it at this present moment because there's a large risk of losing funds. So we're going to watch that one because I feel like there's going to be some big plays on some of these assets. I'm looking at what Trump is holding, like Ondo and Ethena. He just invested $775,000 in what do you call it, Z or ZEI, whatever it is. So we're just putting our ducks in a row, and even if it's not assets that they're holding, I just think there's a lot of opportunity that people aren't looking at. And I would say don't always follow what these talking heads are always putting out in your face, because they're putting out things for specific reasons, and you never know who's holding the bag and who's really willing to dump it on you just so they can exit. So it's really tough, man, but there's a lot of opportunity. And if you keep your head on a swivel and understand the tides that are shifting and what's coming into place, you'll be able to find some solid things. I personally believe the stuff that has been here for some time that has shown staying power, they're going to reap certain benefits. I mean, because at the end of the beginning of this year, the first coins that took off were those legacy assets, the Trons, the XLMs, the HBAR, the XRPs, the assets that have been here. There's going to be something that's going to take off and things go to the next level. I even think Block V could do some monumental things, because even their connection to the stable coin, because the founder was he was one of the founders that created USDT, and they're also bringing that within the fold of their protocol. So things can get very interesting. You just got to keep your head on a swivel and don't follow what everybody's doing. Try to find people that you can align with that could give you a different perspective than what the majority is talking about.
For the record, Block V has already done great things. So has VeChain, HBAR, XRP even, and other coins too. Sparks, by the way, is trying to connect. For those of you who don't know, it would be nice to have her here to share some technical analysis, especially on Bitcoin, and for us to see some important levels, because most part of the crypto market, if not all of it, is following Bitcoin, is performing depending on how well that performs. So it would be nice to have her here to share that as well. By the way, Ondo is a great project. I mean, what they're cooking is something special. I think it's out of this world, and um, they have really good uh, road ahead of them. But yeah, again, so sad that Sparks couldn't be here. I don't know if you, Brando, have anything, if you have discussed with Sparks, if you've done any technical analysis on different levels
Well,
you're following Bitcoin graph
yeah,
for to see where it hits, what it hits.
yeah. I think from the last time we spoke, I think Bitcoin can go to about 100K in the interim, and then we see from there. It might do a little bounce. I don't want to misquote what she was reading on that chart. I'm only vaguely remembering it. But yeah, she should definitely be the one to break it down. But I believe we're gonna go up to we can go up to about 100,000, and then from there we'll see how things can flow. But we're on an uptrend. You know, we have passed that moment where we need to be scared because Bitcoin has held certain levels, and it has hit certain targets. Of course, not everything is perfect, but things are going to plan. Remember, we were prematurely pumped by Donald Trump. It wasn't according to the cycle, how it should have been moved. She won't be able to join in. So, yeah. But yeah, we're in a good spot. We just need some time, and it could be a little choppy, but we'll get to that threshold. And it's just a timing thing. And then eventually, they say now by the end of the year, we'll start to see things take off to another level.
Positive perspective.
That's it.
That's at least a good thing. One thing that I have in mind. So obviously we had different expectations on how Bitcoin would perform, how altcoin season would go after the halving, right? And all of this kind of changed. It was expectations, right? And we were trying to track history and see if that would repeat itself, and if so, how. And then we had Trump coming in, which was and still is very bullish for crypto market. But yeah, things happened. Uncertain things are still happening, right? And that's giving its effect on the crypto market too. And then we have summer, which is usually, let's say, a calmer period of time in crypto where maybe we don't pump, besides maybe DeFi. So how do you think that will perform this year? Do you think liquidity will still be there, or do you think builders will be there, or do you think it might be, I don't know, a crazy wave that we have never seen before?
By June?
And obviously this is, yeah, June, July, August, and obviously I just want to reiterate, this is speculations, right? It's your own opinion. Nobody can predict the future, but yeah, curious on what you think.
Yeah, so I have I'm not saying I got in crypto as early as everybody, and then when I tell people when I got into crypto, it's never to try to boast or brag, because immediately when I tell people I got in at a certain time frame, they be like, "Oh wow, I got in Bitcoin in 2009." Like, ooh, but are you holding anything now? No.
Right.
So, people do that, and they do it at conferences. I'm like, dude, you guys are just. But anyways, so I'm saying that to say, when I got in, there was a lot of assets that are now independent on their own blockchain that were riding. They were ERC20 tokens, Tron, TRX. I got into Stellar so early that Stellar, we were doing they were giving out airdrops all the goddamn time. Okay, Sparks knows because I sent her some. So, to see crypto evolve, there's been so many changes. So, your question was, okay, so what I see happening, because things are happening that have never happened, and we've always been waiting, but it's more evident, it's more in your face. Never have you had a new asset class being born, but then also an advancement of the internet to the third version of it, and it being the internet of value, which is the money layer to the internet. And you're having all of these governments building product so that they can release new things to consumers. All of these new advancements in tech and all of these different sectors could only start happening because of blockchain, and they're not telling you that. Blockchains can be used privately, it doesn't have to be publicly shown. They're not telling you that. That's why they're able to go to space and start, or if space is even real. Now that's a thing, right? But I feel like there's going to be a catalyst of events that just add more fuel to the fire. Regulations get stepped. Boom. It's timing for the Bitcoin cycle. We just had to having. It's just ripening up, and there's going to be so much bullishness that fucking ignites this thing to the next level. Institutions that are on side. This is how we get to that $25 trillion market cap. Literally overnight, right? But it's not overnight. It's been in the making.
Let's go.
I can see that, you know. Of course, we've been talking about this for years. Win. I want it to happen too. But at the same time, all we can do is continue to put yourselves in position and stand 10 toes down to the vision that you have held in your mind that crypto is going to change your life. Many people don't believe enough. They get in here with the wrong mindset thinking crypto is easy. Oh, I'm just gonna make a quick 100,000. Oh, I'm gonna make 1,000,000. And then they get smacked on their ass. Yes, you can come into crypto depending on when you get in and make money, depending on the timing of the market. And it may just seem like it's overnight, but you're gonna end up losing it. You know why? Because it's your first rodeo. You thinking, oh, it's gonna keep going higher. And somebody that's been in the game could tell you, look, you should pull out right now because this is about to go down. No, it's gonna go high. I know it's gonna go high. And snap, you lose it all. And now you mad at me, the people trying to help you navigate crypto. So there's not gonna be a lot of people that win. People are gonna sell too early and people are gonna sell too late. You just wanna hope you're not one of those people. And we're gonna do our very damn best to help alert those individuals in our community. When we go, you got to give yourself targets, Just prepare for life-changing events. But, you gotta also be holding some prominent assets at the same time. You just can't be holding bullshit. And you may not even know what that looks like. I've seen some of the most smartest people in the world, lawyers and doctors, and I would look at their crypto portfolio. I just giggle on the inside. I'm like, who the hell is the Wolf? Never seen that. And you got 100,000 of it. All right. Not everybody has a clue. We're privy to great information, and knowledge is power. So if you don't have the knowledge, you definitely don't have any power. You can't see through the smoke. You're definitely lost in the sauce. And I don't want that for anybody. I digress. Sorry. I always feel like I'm ranching.
I couldn't say that better. That's why we always say you DCA when it's going down, you sell, you take profits along the way. When it's going up, you will never be able to hit the bottom or the top. You just don't want to miss the train. Whether when it's going down, you want to DCA, you don't want to miss that opportunity, or when it's going up, you have to take profits because again, you don't want to miss that opportunity. I think with that said, this is the absolute best way to try to end maybe this live, Brando, because eventually what we're trying to do here with the videos we're sharing, with the knowledge we're sharing, is to try to educate people, for them to do their own research, for them to try to find what coin they want to invest in, should invest in, put their money where the mouth is, but eventually maybe not a woof coin, but something more sustainable, something that has value towards the market, but also towards themselves. So, and we both try to do that with the videos, with this conversation. This is just the first one of many, and it's gonna be better, it's gonna be deeper, and it's gonna be heavier content that we're gonna share here. But final thoughts, final words, and this.
Well, like Joseph said, we're trying to help individuals investigate truth on your own terms. You hear the term DYO. What does DYOR mean? Do your own research. You have to not take things just on the surface level. You have to go deeper. People don't know how to look at crypto because they don't know how to look at businesses or a startup, because most of these are startups, right? So you have to put on a different hat. Yeah, it might be internet money, but this is real money. And this is money that could ultimately change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. It can just change everything. And you want to know what you are holding, what you are investing in, so it gives you conviction to continue to hold. That is how you make the money. You buy as early as possible and you wait. Not, oh, it does a little dip, you put it, keep my money, Now you playing this game of hot potato and you keep losing. Every time you pass the hot potato, which is trading the crypto because you're scared that because it went down and did a little dip, that it won't rebound. You play that. Don't get me wrong, it happens to the best of us, right? But you have to overcome that with your mindset. And all we're trying to do is help you cultivate and develop your crypto mindset, because it is different. This is a whole another animal. It is the stock market on steroids. And if you ain't never got shot with a horse tranquilizer, this is it. So all you need to do is tap into more conversations like this. Join communities bigger than race. Join Joseph. We're here. We're here to help accelerate your learning curves and help you avoid the pitfalls. Many mistakes that people have, many of these scams and hacks, we don't have to go through. Why? Because we follow the crypto blueprint. And it's very simple. But if you deviate from it, you will find yourself in a whole bunch of horse shit. And I don't want that for you. Because you don't need to be smelling like horse shit in India, nor Pakistan, nor Dubai. You need to smell good, okay? So we want to help you smell good on your crypto journey. So join the call, join more of these calls, join the community. That's all I have to say. We have to give you some entertainment at the same time, but we also have to give you the real deal Holyfield. A lot of these influencers will blow smoke up your ass. I know, because I can smell it. Peace.
Don't forget to like, share and comment to let us know your thoughts. Do follow us on Instagram at Brander Murphy Official and Twitter at Brander Murphy, and at Bigger Than Race for the latest BTR updates. Investigate truth on your own terms.